Hello, Sumo fans. As promised, I am slightly early tonight. Not nearly as early as I was hoping for, but that's okay. So, wow, do we have some things to talk about? I got my list here. We're going to start off with sort of the Juryo picture and a couple notes and a couple matches I wanted to talk about, and then we can go from there. So, the Juryo situation now is Daishoho alone at the top, 9-2. 8-3 is Mitoryu, Asakoryu, and Wakatake Kage. Hakuoho did them a solid today by knocking Asakoryu down into the 8-3 category. So it's good to see him affecting the Yusho at the very least. It was a good match. Made me feel a little bit less nervous for him. And hoping that by the end of this tournament, he will have gotten, a full 15 days in with his shoulder for the first time, and he'll start to feel better. And I can stop worrying. So that's where we're at. I think Wakatake Kage should be able to take it, but we'll see. We will see. An interesting thing about the day as well is I feel like the number 5 was the number of the day. How many matches did I see that were 5-5 against each other? It was really eerie, and maybe it's always been like that, but today's the only day that I noticed it. And a bunch of the guys who came up together were all 5-5. So Ichi Yamamoto, Churana Umi, Roga, Nishiki Fuji, not in the same group, but still just fresh from Juryo. Interesting situation. And another note is that Endo is looking very, very done. I'm wondering if we're going to see a retirement. We will see, but he's looking rough. So anyway, let's get into the matches. First, I'll say, hey, Mitch. Hey, Monster. Good to see you here. Glad you found out that I started early because I feel bad when that happens. Anyway, so I was surprised to see Gonoyama actually has stormed his way back to 8-3. He sort of fell off my radar a little bit in terms of following his score. He beat Takayumi pretty hard, and it's kind of funny. I just noticed this for the first time, but I think he probably does it all the time. So Gonoyama's just pushing him right off the edge, and Takayumi just throws his hand up in the air, almost kind of like, come on, man, what are you doing? It's like such a posture of defeat. And it's just one of those little ticks that Takayumi has that just shows you his whole heart isn't in it every match. Let's talk about the parody that is the Midori Fuji Shodai match. So we're talking last night, and I'm like, there's no way Shodai is going to go down to a Katatsukashi. Well, now we live in a parody of sumo because Shodai he's just there. He's just there to fill a spot. It was obvious what Midori Fuji was going to do, and I don't know. Shodai. Come on, man. But whenever Midori Fuji pulls off these multiple Katatsukashis, he has a good record. So he's on his way to having a good tournament. More good news for Issei Gahama. And Hiraumi, he did lose today, but he made a slick move at the edge. He's trying a lot of stuff, and even in a loss, he looks good. So I think he's coming back. I think we can start to get excited for him again. If he can take some of this momentum and not fall apart at the end, obviously, I think he could have a really good May. I'm going to put him on my hopeful list. And I have to speak about this, especially while Mitch is here. You got to give Tobizaru credit for that fantastic move against Meisei today. Come on, that was one of the most technical I've ever seen Tobizaru, and it looked good. It looked very good. And I have to say, as we also spoke about last night, the Gyojis have been on point. They're calling a lot of calls without Monoise, and they're right. Like, they seem to be in the right position. They see how it goes. And I have no complaints. Now, something disastrous could happen by the end of the tournament. But so far, I have no complaints, and I think they're doing great. So, Ura and Takerufuji. Let me just say that Ura is a maniac. I don't know how he got himself back into some sort of position when he was in almost a full back bend at the edge. And basically, Takerufuji had to lift him out, or else he wasn't going to win the match. Ura he really is Gumby. He cannot be beaten by bending him into a pretzel. You have to overpower him. So that was one heck of a match. Takerufuji showing aggression. Once again, a lot of stuff's coming out of that Issei Hamabeya. They're all pumped up, ready to represent. Their top guy is out, but you know, they're gonna show everybody how great their stable is, and they're all doing pretty good. Today, Abi overpowered Shonan Umi, which surprised me, but I like it. I still think something excuse me. I still think something isn't quite right with Shonan Umi. He definitely looks way better than he has. But either he's just not comfortable in his sumo yet, or something is still off. Because he's an awfully big guy to get pushed around like that. Maybe it's for the reasons that I'm going to discuss next, which is I was really paying attention to Hoshoryu today, and he has impeccable footwork. It's amazing. That is when he is that sort of super glued to the ground, but yet, you know, has the lateral movement, he is very unbeatable. Now, Daisho's ailing, but still, I mean, he moved all over the place. There was a moment where Daisho tried to take him down, and he just could bounce back up because he was in the perfect position. He was in the perfect stance. And if you look really closely at the faces of the fans after that match, I mean, they are thrilled. They are jumping up and down. They're whispering to each other, big smiles. They were highly entertained by that match. So I hope Hoshoryu keeps it up, keeps it strong, makes it interesting at the end. And for more Ozeki news, we now have another Kadoban Ozeki. Boy, am I sick of the Kadoban. Kirishima loses today. At this point, he just needs to forget this tournament. Do the best he can to just do whatever it takes to keep his mind in a good place. Forget about it. Pretend it never happened. Get back into fighting shape so he can just go in. I don't have any concerns about him winning 8. That's what he has to do at this point. His tournament is just a complete disaster. Not a surprise after losing out on a Yokozuna run, or having your stable master retire and thinking about moving, and it's just what it is. What can you do? Now, I got to talk about Keisho. Tears for Keisho. This was not a good matchup for him in terms of size. I was hoping that Onosato would have too many nerves, but at this point, he's just had too much experience to not bring it in that match. And Keisho didn't know what to do with him. He really just tried to pull, and he never got into a good position, and he just got overpowered. I am now concerned. Keisho was 7-4, facing against, you know, all the opponents are going to be top guys. All the guys are going to be fighting for something. I think John said that he's got Wakamoto Haru tomorrow. That's probably the best match for him, maybe fighting Kirishima. But when you're at 7-4, I mean, he's got to get a win now, or we could be saying bye-bye Ozeki. So please take care of that tomorrow, because I would like to think about other things. And finally, we must get to the man of the hour, Takerufuji, fighting like he's been here forever. We might get a Zensho Yusho. We might get a first-time Yusho in the top division. There's potential for many, many records broken with Takerufuji. He looks very comfortable. As I was watching him, I was seeing the muscles on top of muscles that this man has. And then I also looked at his age, and it's like, he's 25. So he's not some like young 19-year-old like, oh, what's happening? You know, he doesn't have top division experience, but he's in a stable with all of these top guys. So he pretty much gets the same experience that some other guy who has nobody in his stable, can't get unless he's in a tournament. So I thought today was the day that really determined. I think it is quite possible that Takerufuji runs away with it. I don't know if I'm rooting for him or not. I know that sounds kind of bad, but it's starting to be like everybody from Isegahama. So I think I'd be more likely to root for my guy Hoshoryu, who's got an outside chance at this point. I mean, I think Takerufuji can actually clinch it tomorrow because he's that far ahead. So it might be a moot point, but here we go. This is going to be something else. Maybe we have several records broken. And let's discuss this. Hoshoryu is somewhat in control of his destiny. Barely, but somewhat. He's going to fight Takerufuji tomorrow. If he beats him, which would make him, finally a mortal character in this whole thing. If Hoshoryu beats him, then he stays in it for just maybe one more day. If he loses, Takerufuji, I'm pretty sure... Well, Onosato's right behind him, so if Onosato wins, he can't clinch it yet. I think. Because we would have one more day. So he could possibly clinch it on Friday. Or he could clinch it tomorrow. If he wins tomorrow and Onosato loses, then he would be up 12-9 and it's done. Pretty sure. So anyway, Onosato has Kotonowaka tomorrow. Kotonowaka got embarrassed by Takerufuji. He really should be like, he's the Shinozeki. He's trying to show how great he is. And he gets beat by the upstart. And I will say it's because I think Takerufuji has a lot more grit, a lot more passion, and is a lot more exciting than Kotonowaka. He can fix that, but it's something he needs to fix. And the other outside chancers are Gonoyama, Takayasu. Gonoyama's got Daisho. That could be an interesting fight. I mean, Daisho's hurt and Gonoyama's starting to surge. Takayasu versus Abi. I don't know that I ever like watching those guys because of what Abi did to Takayasu in the playoff, and we had to endure another slow walk. So I don't know if I'm super thrilled about that match, but maybe they'll make it interesting. So, this one's going to be a little wild. It's the first time we would have the lowest... I don't know, where is Takerufuji right now? Hold on a second. What is his ranking right now? Is he actually the lowest? Banzuke, March Banzuke. Let's see. Is he actually the lowest? Yes, he is the lowest seed. So we would have the fact that the lowest seed winning the tournament for the first time in several years. I think there's 110-year record for top division's debut to win the Yusho. So we're looking at craziness here. All right, I see lots and lots of comments. Let me get to the comments. By the time I get through all of them, there'll be more comments. Hello, Mitch. Monster says, Mitoryu defeated Wakataka Kage in a real killer of a match again. It's so unusual for Mitoryu to be doing anything interesting, but he has been the surprise highlight of Juryo. I completely agree. I'm like, Mitoryu? What is going on here? I think I lost my picture here for some reason. Oh, that's weird. What's going on? Hold on a sec, guys. Sorry. Lost my picture. I don't know why I lost my picture. It's showing all your comments and my other stuff. All right, bear with me here. There we go. Okay. Not sure why I'm having technical difficulties here. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that from Mitoryu at all. That's not the name I really thought it was going to be Wakataka Kage and Hakuoho, but apparently, what do I know? Mitch says, Mitoryu was just looking to make his annual appearance in the top division, then spend the next 3 to 4 tournaments in Juryo. Basically. That has been the role that he has taken up all this time. Midori Fuji is now 2-6 lifetime with Shodai. You got to wonder at this point if Midori Fuji is beating Shodai. Maybe Shodai's like even losing a step more than usual. I mean, maybe we should be concerned about Shodai. Maybe he's going to be a surprise retirement or something. Because he's got nothing in the tank. Mitch says, I haven't watched much from yesterday. I'm working on catching up on some of these matches. Well, hopefully there wasn't too many spoilers. Monster says, yeah, that Tobizaru match was another strong point. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed Tobizaru, much to Mitch's horror. But yeah, that was a pretty exciting match, and I didn't expect Tobizaru to actually, I thought he was going to be the one thrown. Monster says, being tall makes it easier for Abi to push up on his neck. Yeah, Abi has a lot of advantages, both with his height and the long arms. If he could really harness that ability, he could be so much better. But his footwork is all over the place, and he tends to be frantic. George says, I fell asleep during Juryo. I woke up, and then Takerufuji was serving power water. So I missed the big match and got spoiled at the same time. Oh, that's sad. That is the worst feeling. Were you watching it live or something? Monster says, I assume Kirishima will be pulling out today because that's what an Ozeki with 8 losses does. Yeah, but if you recall, the first time he went Kadoban, he didn't. He didn't pull out right away. So there's no guarantees with Kirishima. He kind of does what he wants. Mitch says, meh, I still don't give a damn with Tobizaru. Just watch the match. More upset with Macy giving up the double inside. Well, that is the exact response I expected from you. So I'm glad that you never change. Then Mitch also says, Takakeisho has Wakamoto Haru tonight. Probably going to finish with the Ozeki for the last 3 days. This is his best shot of winning because Wakamoto Haru is not in a good place right now. Possibly injured. Possibly gassed. I'm not sure. And Takakeisho is capable of beating any one of these guys. He's done it. But when it starts to get more and more pressure packed, you make mistakes. So I'm really, really, really hoping he just takes care of it and we can just forget about it. And I had this like terrible thought, and I really hope that it's just a wrong thought. If Takekeisho has to fight Takerufuji, I hope he doesn't pull a Hank, because he might get run out of town. But you know what? Takerufuji might be good enough that he would see it coming and just take care of it. Okay, one more win for Takerufuji clinches a playoff spot. 2 wins is the Yusho. I don't think he'll Zensho, but it's his to lose. It seems unlikely that he would Zensho, but he looks so strong. Way stronger than anybody I can think of in a long time. So I wouldn't put it past him. And like I said, he's 25. He's not a super young guy. He's really strong, and he's training in a stable with all these amazing, amazing fighters. I mean, they are stacked in Isegahama. So he's just in a better position than these other guys, training-wise. Takerufuji and Onosato are both very bread and butter type of Rikishi. They are the kinds of guys people that never watch sumo assumes everyone fights like. Yeah, seriously. Should be fun to read the comment sections when you get all the new sumo fans who just found it this basho to see what kinds of things they're saying. Spanky says, rooting all in for the evil nephew. I'm always rooting for the evil nephew as well. And it's so funny because Hoshoryu is not necessarily my type of Rikishi, but there is something about him that I love. I absolutely love him. If my math is right, I was an English major. I'm with you, George. That's why I struggled so much, and I appreciate you coming in and helping me out with the math. Yes, Maegashira 17. Mitch, here's the issue with scheduling for Takerufuji. After maybe Takekeisho and Wakamoto Haru, who do you put him against on the last day? Takayasu, Gonoyama? That's a really excellent point. There's not a whole lot of guys for him to go against, which would still be the issue. I mean, they might put him against Kirishima, although he's not having a great tournament. He'd never have to fight Terunofuji, so that would be an issue no matter what with him. Monster says, everyone was talking about how good the Sanyaku looked, and now everything is back to gloom and doom for them. This sucks. What can you expect, man? We're stuck in this eternal vortex of the same old, same old. And just when we like start to pull out, it sucks us back in. Daishoho, hello, 2 more wins and he's back in the top division, but I don't think he'll stick. Daishoho is the perpetual back and forth guy for like 10 years. So, I don't know. He's got enough experience that I guess it makes sense for him to win, but I want someone exciting to win. But hey, what can I say? Jason says, I think that since Hoshoryu does well under pressure, if he beats Takerufuji, I think he'll win all the rest of his bouts. Very, very possible. I could see that. The only problem he has is Takerufuji might win all of his, and then he doesn't get a shot at it. I feel like Hoshoryu is always sitting on the outside looking in the window when he should be on the other side of the window. He just keeps losing that one. Like, this one's going to be the Midori Fuji match. That's going to be the one that he goes back and says, what in the world happened? I knew exactly what he was going for. How did I let him get me? And there's always a regrettable match for Hoshoryu. When he can put it all together, he's going to be an amazing force to be reckoned with. But he's just not there yet. Mitch said, after doing a Sumo DB query, the last and only Makauchi debutante to win the Yusho was Ryogoku in May of 1914. There you go. That's over 100 years. That's 110 years. Yeah, look at that math, huh? 110 years. So maybe it's something to root for, because that's pretty cool. Us seeing some sort of history like that. Orlando says, Hoshoryu is an absolute complete scumbag if he wins using a Hanka. I would prefer he leaves that Hanka out of there, but Hoshoryu is definitely someone you have to worry about with the Hanka. But Takerufuji is not some like naive, happy guy. Like, when you look at what happened to Atami Fuji, he got Hanka'd multiple times and lost to the Hanka. He was a little bit like, deer in headlights, like, oh, look at where I am. Takerufuji's like an assassin. He's gonna know that Hoshoryu is capable of that, and he'll be ready for it. So I don't think he's gonna beat him with a Hanka, even if he tries a Hanka. Though Hoshoryu is quicker than the human eye can react to. Mitch says, after doing it, I already read that. Sorry. Kota Nowaka isn't out of it either. He's got 3 losses too, and that match with Takerufuji was winnable. It absolutely was winnable. I think Kota Nowaka took him too lightly. This is kind of the point I'm making about him, is I don't think Kota Nowaka has the passion that he needs. That is what his problem is. He has the body, he has the technique, he has the heritage, he's got all this going for him, and he just doesn't care enough. That's not to say he doesn't care. It's that he doesn't seem to be burning with this desire to win no matter what. And he just kind of takes his foot off the gas and loses winnable matches. Now, Takerufuji could have went chest to chest with him and it's an epic power battle and ends up beating him, but that's not what we got. We got Kota Nowaka kind of getting caught. And it's a shame when you don't see the match exactly the way you were hoping to see it. Like, I want to see Takerufuji fight Hoshoryu tomorrow. That should have lots of intensity if nobody does anything sketchy or weird or somebody slips or somebody gets the stomach bug. George said, yeah, I was watching live last night. I used to watch live all the time. I would literally set my alarm and just get up at 3, 4 in the morning. And that's what would happen to me. I would be so calm because they're speaking very calm in sumo. And I'd be just laying on the couch, and the next thing you know, I'm asleep, and it's over. And that is the worst feeling to me. So I'm like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'll record it, or I'll, catch highlights or something. I'm just not going to put myself through that. Hot Bob Gob says, Takakeisho has the better head. 2 head between him and WMH Wakamoto Haru. Hope is alive. Hope is alive. But he has to take advantage of it. If he loses tomorrow, now you're talking about 7-5, fighting guys with a lot to lose. Takakeisho does pretty well under pressure, but you don't ever want to be putting it down to that. Remember how Takakeisho became Ozeki. He beat Tochinoshin on the last day. So it's Takakeisho 8-7. Actually, no, it was Tochinoshin 7-8. Takakeisho got like 10 or 11, whatever it was he needed. But Tochinoshi went down to the last day when he lost Ozeki. And it was still possible for him to win. It just too much. I believe in Takekeisho. He can blast out Takerufuji's slower Tachiai. He's certainly capable of it. He certainly is. But like I said, he doesn't look nervous. That's what's impressive about him. So Takekeisho, everybody kind of knows the game. So it's a matter of, will Takekeisho get the jump, or can he figure out, one of his parrying things, or is he going to just beat you silly with the slaps and see, who can handle it? Because that's the third option. And I really could see Takekeisho and Takerufuji being like a brawl in the center and see who can take what. And I don't know. I don't know enough about Takerufuji to see how he'd do in a slap fest. Toki Hayate is looking real diminished this Basho. I'm thinking he's hurt. I actually noticed that, and I was thinking about you, and I'm like, oh man, Toki Hayate is just like not looking that great. I think a lot of guys are banged up. 2 Bashos ago, Tenshoho got hanked 3 days in a row. Oh, that's really sad. That's really sad. I wonder if Tamawashi went in and started yelling at him. Do you think Hoshiryu can beat Kota Nawaka after 3 straight defeats to him? He will eventually. But it is a little bit of a daunting task depending on, what the state is. Like, what are the stakes? But eventually Hoshiryu is going to beat Kota Nawaka. It's only a matter of time. Now that Kota Nawaka and Takekeisho are both Ozeki, do we see the return of the bitch slaps of fury from the battle hamster? I hope so. Man. I certainly hope so. I enjoy it. Although they probably don't enjoy it. That's probably stinging the next day. I'm thinking Takerufuji is just the latest shooting star after Hakuoho and Atami Fuji. He'll probably Yusho, but then I, of course, have thought the same thing. You get all this adrenaline. It's your first time in the upper division. There's a lot going on in the background. Like Terunofuji, they had to know what kind of condition he was in. They know he wants to get his 10th Yusho. And everybody's just kind of rallying together. We're all going to do great. And they have Takerufuji, who's probably pretty close to retirement. And there's all these reasons why it's like, in my debut, I want to give back to the guys who've been training me all this time. And you ride that high and things work out your way, but there's usually a letdown after that, unless you really are the greatest of all time. Like Hakuho really did maintain that level his whole career until the very end. Not sure if Takerufuji is that. Usually it's a young guy who pulls that off. So yeah, I would say even if he gets this Yusho, he could be a flash in the pan, but we'll see. K Bunny says, I stay up late anyways because of my work schedule. I love watching live till 5 a.m. every day. I would love it too. It's the absolute worst timing though, because if it was 4 to 6, then I could just go to bed early and just wake up really early. If it was 5 to 6, same thing. If it was midnight to 2, just stay up super late. But no, it's like in the middle of the night. It's 3 to 5. And it's like, I got to do it tomorrow night when I try to go on that podcast. I hope none of my technology fails. I'm always worried about that because there will be no one to help me. It'll be just me and my microphone saying, what's up? But yeah, I would love to watch it live. I used to do it all the time and I'm just getting too tired apparently. Habob Gob says, Takerufuji is a bulldozer. Trying to overpower him and take him lightly means a loss. A smart, agile Rikishi could probably beat him. Maybe Hoshiryu or Kirishima play spoiler. I'd love to see Kirishima play spoiler because he needs something. He might pull out. He might pull out tonight. I don't think he's going to because I don't think he's injured. And last time he was on the verge of Kataban, he did not pull out also. But it would be good for him to have something like that to take out of this tournament because it's a complete disaster. And obviously, I want Hoshiryu to win tomorrow. Jason, is Hakuoho losing because of his stable scandal? So, I promise that I won't go into full detail because last night I tanked the live stream by going on a rant. But I'm guessing, Jason, you didn't hear my rant. I think it could be 50-50. It could be at least 50% the scandal is messing with him. Between the fact that the media is probably swarming all over the place, he's got a new stable master in there, and he's locked everybody down. The future is uncertain. He's named after Hakuho, so, he's attached to the guy. And he's just coming back from the shoulder surgery, so maybe it's not healing so great. I think it's a little bit of that, but I also think healing takes mental, you need really good mental place to get physical healing. So I think it's probably both. But he is looking a lot better today than he was in the previous matches. So maybe he's just a little rusty. In addition, he might put it all together in May and we can forget the whole thing ever happened. But if you want to hear my full-on rant about Haku Oho, because I was focused on him specifically, go back and watch the live stream from last night. It's somewhere in the middle of it. And I go in full depth about what I think about Haku Oho and the stable scandal. Mitch says that Takakeisho versus Tochinoshi match on day 15 was Takakeisho on 9-5 needing the win to get the promotion, and Tochinoshi already caught Oban on 7-7 needing the win to avoid losing the Ozeki rank. That's right. I couldn't remember. I was having a moment, but I was like, yeah, I think he was right on the cusp for an Ozeki is 10, not 8. And I know that Tochinoshi was 7-7. And boy, that was a painful moment because it's like, I love Tochinoshi, but I wanted Ozeki for Takakeisho. And he had been passed up the previous tournament, and they were like, we want one more tournament. So I almost didn't think he was ever going to get it. And so I was like so happy and so sad in the same exact match. Toad Ozuma says, so happy for Ura this basho. He's holding his own. Ura he just keeps rising and rising and rising in my favorability. He is just amazing. You never know what he's going to do. His body bends in all these crazy positions. You don't know if he's going to get thrown into the front row or if he's going to do some crazy move. And he's always like animated. It'll be a sad day when Ura is no longer in the top division. Habob Gob says Takerufuji broke composure when Kotonowaka broke his balance and when Onosato stopped doing straightforward sumo. So you're suggesting that he's not as solid as it appears and that there is some vulnerabilities to take advantage of. Well, if anybody was paying attention, it would be Hoshoryu. So let's see what he does. I don't think they even match up Kirishima with Takerufuji. Probably not. But as we were discussing up top, who are they going to put against him at this point? They definitely want to put whoever is the best competition against him. George says, I can see Takerufuji as a shooting star. It's not unusual for guys to do great in their debut. See Exhibit A, Ichinojo had a 14-1 debut and then not much. Yeah, Ichinojo is just such a... I guess we know now that we're at the end of his career what happened between the bad back that he just couldn't overcome, getting iced out of the Mongolian circles, and having the serious drinking problem. He just couldn't be the wrestler that he was meant to be. Unfortunately. Spanky, if it plays out right for Hoshoryu to take the Yusho or get in a playoff, Kiri will wait to pull out until he faces Hoshoryu and give him the bye win. Well, there was, a little bit of chatter when Hoshoryu pulled out last tournament, mostly just from Uncle. But yeah, I could see Kirishima wanting to actually fight Hoshoryu and not affect it. He seems like a very conscientious fighter. Almost kind of like, I'm not going to just quit because I'm having a bad tournament. If he was actually injured, which I do not think he is, that's the only way he pulls out. Monster says, Endo is Juryo bound now with the ugly loss to Hokuto Fuji. I'm wondering if he might retire rather than slugging out in Juryo. That is what I was saying at the very beginning of the show before anybody came. I think we are looking at an impending Endo retirement. He looks really bad. Like, they're almost like Hokuto Fuji almost was like gently putting him down. And Hokuto Fuji's a mess. He's as beat up as they come, and he beat Endo today. So, and as we spoke about, Endo has Kabu, supposedly. So he has nothing to worry about by leaving now. Mitch says, it was fine. Tochinoshi completed the Ozeki Wake the next tournament by pulling one of the top 3 Hankas of all time. Oh, yes. How we forget how many times Hanka has actually played a huge role. That was right. He did come right back. And then that was when Takakeisho had 4 Ozeki for 2 tournaments or something like that. And then it was just him and Takayasu, and then Takayasu was out, and there was just him for a while and no Yokozuna. Orlando says, am I imagining that sumo as a sport has a disproportionate number of athletes suffering from diabetes, ending their careers and flattening their progress? No. Most sports do not have the eating component. I mean, there is an eating component to all sports, but the type of eating that must be done to gain the bodies that these guys gain is ripe for type 2 diabetes. It's just not, it's not a great choice. It's just not a great choice in terms of long-term health. Now, diabetes, there is some sort of genetic component as well, because you'll see people who eat whatever they want, and they could be super, super heavy, and they don't have diabetes, and you have the skinny person who gets it because they had the genetic predisposition. So it's a combination of, diabetes are running in these particular guys' family, but then the diet situation pushes them over the edge much sooner than it would have otherwise. K Bunny says, Midori Fuji pulling off another Katatsukashi today was hilarious. He can keep getting away with it. I really did laugh for a solid 10 seconds. I couldn't believe what I saw. He really can do whatever he wants. And I was asking myself, is Midori Fuji just that good at it that people cannot defend against it? Or are they in the match thinking, no, he won't do it again. There's no way he'll do it again. I think he's just going to Katatsukashi until the end of the tournament. And why not? George says, Orlando, you're not imagining it. Diabetes happens when you're overweight and the whole sport revolves around being large. Yeah, there was a point in sumo where, it was more, they've always been kind of big, but there can be an emphasis on just being more muscular and gaining that way. But yeah, sumo depends on you gaining a certain amount of weight, which means eating a certain way that's going to lead to diabetes. Toto Zumo says, if Takerufuji beats Hoshoryu, Zensho looks much more feasible. I think so too. I think if he beats Hoshoryu, I'm saying tomorrow, but I guess it's technically tonight. If he beats him, there's nothing stopping him. The momentum train is just too fast and furious. It would be hard for someone to break that, even if they were capable of beating him. It's just, once you get on that momentum train, everything falls into place. They'll probably give Kirishima an Ozeki or 2, then probably someone like Tamawashi or Kinbozan, maybe Gonoyama. I think they have Kirishima fight Takakeisho. My guess is they don't really want Takakeisho to stop being Ozeki, so they're going to do as many favors for him as they can without doing favors that are obvious. But with that said, Kirishima could beat him, even if he's having a bad tournament. Mitch says, not to mention that Tochinoshi's Hanka might have been the most justified Hanka of all time. I enjoyed the metaphorical middle finger he gave to the JSA that bout. I forgot all about that. We got to find a video of that. That's got to be floating around the internet somewhere. I would like to rewatch that match. Bob Gob says, weirdest thing is a lot of Rikishi have type 1, the genetic type you're born with, like Terutsuyoshi. It isn't acquired through diet. That is interesting. That is very interesting, and I would like to look into that more because, yes, if you have type 1, it really doesn't matter what you eat. It had absolutely nothing to do with it. And you have hundreds of guys who are eating this diet. You don't have hundreds of guys who have diabetes. So, interesting. I'd really like to look into that. Maybe there could possibly be a Japanese genetic situation that you could look into. Maybe there's a higher rate of diabetes in certain Japanese populations. That might be something to look into. Jason says, will Onosato beat Kotonowaka? I think it's possible. Now, he lost to him last tournament, but Onosato's kind of riding high and Kotonowaka's kind of falling back. So I think it's a very strong possibility that Onosato beats Kotonowaka. Mitch says, Endo already owns the Kitajin elder name. I wonder if he waits a tournament or two to have the guy who's borrowing his Kabu to find another one before taking it on. Maybe, but if Endo was in bad shape and he went into this tournament, he might have already told the guy. He might have said, look, I'm going to try fighting one more time. Probably not going to do so well, so be prepared. So you never know. George says, the weight thing in sumo started when the Hawaiians showed up. That's when they went from large on average to dangerously huge. Not surprising. And those Hawaiians were huge. My goodness. And when you're trying to compete, genetically speaking, the Japanese are smaller than other populations, particularly American populations. So there's only so much they can do to get bigger. And you've got this giant Hawaiian man. To keep up with him, you have to go to extreme lengths. Jason says, Takerufuji looks a little like Wakataka Kage because of the physique. I agree. I was really studying him this time, and I'm like, look at those arms. He's got like the wave, and he's got the definition, and this dude lifts and lifts and lifts. Kirishima has quite a repertoire of upper body lifting, and he doesn't look like that. And yes, Wakataka Kage, that was sort of his signature thing. He almost had like a feeling of Chiyo no Fuji. Just a feeling. Not nearly as defined, but you almost could think about him when you saw Wakataka Kage. K Bunny says, but with type 1, if you eat like a sumo wrestler, it would be very hard to control your sugar and insulin levels. Correct. If you have type 1 to be a big sumo wrestler, I don't know how you would control it. And remember, this is what Takerufuji also has. So, if he didn't have diabetes, maybe he could actually have been, gotten to these levels earlier. He actually dropped down to the lowest level more because of diabetes than from the injuries. He just couldn't get it under control, and he was going through quite a hard time. I think it's not so much the diabetes, but the uncontrolled diabetes. Absolutely. It's an excellent point that you're making. Takerufuji is also not that big. He's only 143 kilograms. It's funny because I haven't actually looked at it. Even though he's on here, I should probably look at the page. Let me take a look at the page. Hold on. I'm going to move this so that I don't turn it off again. Yeah, he's so deceptive when you look at him because he kind of looks small. That must be the height. But he kind of looks big because of those arms. And you're trying to compare him to other guys, and his body is just a totally different look. You don't know if you're looking at a small man or a large man. The middle finger was in response. Sorry, I keep coughing. This is so annoying. The middle finger was in response to the absolute screw job the Shrimps did him the day before in his match against Asanoyama. Yeah, what's funny about that, and I do remember that was why he did the Hanka. I think the video is gone now, but Chris Sumo did a whole expose on that one match, and it got millions of views, like 10 million views. People were so fired up, especially in Georgia. There was so much hype. It was such a big deal. Oh, man. And to think, that wasn't that long ago, and it kind of gets out of your mind. Asanoyama's been involved in a lot of moments in sumo that are not necessarily people's favorite memories. Takerufuji is 143 kilograms, but if he had normal-sized calves, that would add 10 kilograms. Goodness, his calves are tiny. And I think that's the thing, too, is when you're looking at him full on, if you look at just his legs, you could kind of forget how big he is center mass. Making the entire sport of sumo fatter is a very American thing to do, yes. Well, we We export our ideas all the time, whether we mean to or not. Todo Zumo, I'm sad about Koto Eko falling to Makushita. I'm excited we have another yoked pixie on his way up with Asakoryu, though. No one will ever replace my sweet lavender prince Yokozuna of hard work forever. I am sad, too, about Koto Eko. I really liked him ever since he debuted, and just, he never quite got his footing. I don't know what it is. And now he's hurt, I believe, in addition to all of the struggles he was having. So, might be a while, if ever, if we see him again. And diabetes also messes with injury recovery. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. That is definitely true. And in a sport like sumo, you are always hurt. Orlando says, loved it today. Murray Johnson gave Tsuyoshi a shout out from Ura's bout. Yes, he did. He did. I love Murray. I really do. He's like I like him and I like John Gunning. And I miss when they were together. Like before COVID, you'd have two guys. And when Murray and John were together, it was like the all-star team of English sumo commentary. And I really miss it because, you know, Murray would kind of be the straight man and John was always, you know, ribbing him and trying to get him angry and stuff. And just a blast. Habob Gob. Day 15 Ura upsets Takerufuji 14-1 Yusho at the Pinky Special Prize. I would love that. That would definitely be an upset worthy of my heart. Aside from that heel controversy, it sure was a great basho, though. Yeah, I think everybody left that basho feeling good, and it's because Tochinoshin made sure to, you know, get back to Ozeki. If it hadn't happened and it all came down to that heel, my goodness, would that have been, like, people would have been rioting, okay? It was that tense. Mitch says, the Makushita promotion picture is looking very interesting again. I'm guessing 3 spots opening up in Juryo. So we can take a look at that real quick. It's delayed, guys. I apologize. Like, I'm actually clicking on it, but you may not see it for a little bit. I don't know why it does that. Juryo. Oh, no. No. Takerufuji. Things are not looking so good for him. I don't want to see that, man. Okay, let's see what we got here. How many spots are there in Juryo? 14? So Kageyaki, no, that's 4th. Kita Harima is going to get kicked out. Ooh. Oyama not looking so hot. Koto Eko, obviously. We just talked about him. Man, a lot of guys are not having a good time of it, huh? Wow. So we got at least Kita Harima, Koto Eko, and probably Aoyama, but we'll see. Hopefully that's, yep, I actually see it showing up there. Okay, got some comments. Sad Boy Ten Shoho will stay in Makushita for at least another basho. I will not get into the Miyagi no stuff. I refuse, but it definitely affects his medal. Yes, we went on a long rant. I'm like, this is why some people don't like 42 Opinions. It's because Maria rants. So we won't do that tonight. In fact, I promised that we would at least talk about the field trip to Japan before we end tonight. Please. Oh, man. I cannot read this black on white text. Please, Sukahara finally be promoted. Nabatame Juryo, please. Come on, Chiyomaru. Let's get this one last win. Good old Chiyomaru. Daishoho versus Oshoma, a very important match for the promotion picture. Absolutely. If Chiyomaru doesn't get the 4th win, this is officially the worst basho ever. Oh, it could get so much worse. We have a couple of days for things to go really wrong. Mitch says, Kita Harima and Koto Eko are the guarantees, plus the spot opened up by the Hokuseiho. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that that will open up a spot immediately. So, yeah. What do you guys want to talk about before I end? I can give you we have 50 minutes recording. I can give you 10 more minutes. Is there any questions you have? Any topics you want to talk about? Any particular wrestler you want to talk about? Maybe we're just going to talk about the, comings and goings as we are right now. Not a lot of Makauchi dropouts. Well, let's look. Let's take a look. Let's go back to Makauchi. Okay. Well, we know it's not going to be Takerufuji. He will be fine. Let's see. Nishiki Fuji's doing all right. Miyogiru still has a chance. Endo's gone. So there's one. Roga's still in it. Kita Nawaka's out. So we've got 2 guarantees. Kita Nawaka and Endo. Other than that, there's just a lot more fight in some of these guys that are lower down. Like Miyogiru, it could go either way. Dayamami's, sitting in a good position right now, but that could change. So we're probably not gonna have the same, 5-6 spots that we were having. And we know that Takerufuji is not looking too good, so he might not go up. Toki Hayate's got some more winning to do. Mitori will go up. Tomokaze's got a shot. So yeah, it's not looking like a big shift is going to happen this time around. Onokatsu should be a lock to be promoted. Last guy to receive the Makushita 15 start. Okay. I'm more than ready to drop every other topic to discuss who's getting arrested on the field trip. Okay, we'll bring up the field trip. It says a lot about how I'm feeling this basho that I'm already out of ideas for what to say on stream 2. I know. Trust me, I know. Shimazu, Endo, and likely Kita Nawaka. Oh, yeah, that's right. Shimazu Umi. I forgot all about that. So there's 3. Kita Nawaka might stay if he wins out. Possibly. Big if. Shimazu Umi is Kujo from really low, so he'll be dropping. Forgot all about him. Will Takekesho retire if he can't get 8 wins this basho? Not yet. I think he would at least give Ozeki Wake a shot. He has done that before. When he first became Ozeki, he hurt his knee right away. And instead of coming back with a hurt knee, his coach and him decided, we're going to sit out the second basho and we're going to come back at Ozeki Wake fully healed. He's a young guy. He can get 10 wins. And that's exactly what he did. I'll have a more complete look at the promotion picture tomorrow. I didn't bother today. I'm salty. I know. There's such a shadow hanging over this basho. Hopefully something can salvage it. I won't be arrested. I promise. My mortal enemy is Sumo is gone. Okay, so we have a lot of new people that have been popping into the chat. So I don't know some of you guys as much. But, if 42 Opinions ever goes to Japan, we were talking about, getting a bus and asking Hiro Morita to come on and be our tour guide. And then there are various people that would, fulfill different positions. I don't care what Mitch says. Mitch would get arrested. And I'm guessing Monster would also get arrested because the two of them sort of give each other ideas and they're never good for each other. Because Mitch has plans when he meets Tobizaru, apparently. And I don't think Hiro would like that too much. George says, I won't be arrested. Oh, yeah, I just read that. It would be cool, wouldn't it? If we just, maybe we need to do like a GoFundMe and just say, come on, guys. 42 Opinions has to go to Japan. We need to show up and find Hiro and say, yeah, we're English-speaking sumo fans. We don't know anything. Interview us. Because that's the kind of people that he usually interviews, is people who have been there like once. They've heard a couple names. They're like, yeah, Hakuho is the best. You know, and it's like he retired years ago. So, you know, they probably wouldn't take us unless we pretended we didn't know anything about sumo. I think Mitorio will need one more, I think. Toki Hayate will come up if he gets to 8. Probably a coin toss between Tomokaze and Oshoma. Yeah, poor Tomokaze. I really hoped, I knew better, but I really hoped that he was going to make it back to the top division and do what he's supposed to do. Like what he was doing before he got injured, but it's just not happening. Jason and Hiro as chaperones. That'd be pretty cool. It'd be super cool, but you know, I'm sure Jason does not know about 42 Opinions, and if he did know about 42 Opinions, I'm not sure he would necessarily be a fan. Maybe he would. Or maybe be like, wow, they are something else. But it would be cool. I mean, if I went to Japan to do sumo things, I would be all about meeting Jason. Monster said, wait, what did I do? Oh, I was just saying that if we went to Japan, you'd probably end up getting arrested. That's all. Playboy Club on the Ginza. Woo woo. Mitch, hey Monster, apparently we'll be in cahoots to cause problems. Guaranteed. If the two of you guys ever meet, you will cause problems. Guaranteed. Ha Bob Gob. I wanted to hang with Hidenumi for sumo and babes, but I might get the boobs. Yeah, you better stay away from anybody who's got the stomach flu. It will ruin your whole trip. I'm sure Hidenumi could show you the good gambling spots as well. Yeah, except he wouldn't trust any of us. He'd be like, yeah, American sumo fans, I don't want to work with you. I'm not going to let you know all the cool stuff. You'll get me in trouble. And he'd be right. He'd absolutely be right. All I remember is that Mitch was going to hurt Tobizaru and I threatened Hokuseiho, and you no longer have to worry about that, so you are going to be in good shape. I told you all he was evil and nobody believed me. You did. I forgot all about that, George. I really did. You really called the sinisterness of Hokuseiho before all of us. And I kept defending him. I feel bad about that. No longer do I defend this man. Ha Bob Gob, get a smoke and do some weightlifting with Big Teru. Could you imagine, like, did you guys know? Did you know? There are, you know how they do these, like, tours all around the world? There actually are sumo tours that you can pay for where specifically you're going out there, they set you up with, breakfast, then you get to watch training practice, and then you can go to Kokugi-kan if that's the package that you pick. So there is opportunities to actually do sumo in Japan, like go and talk to these guys. But somebody's got to learn Japanese. They're not going to talk to us if we don't know Japanese. Mitch is like, holy crap, I completely forgot about that. When did I become somebody's sidekick? I don't know. I feel like Mitch was here before you. So I think that's how you wound up being his sidekick. And somehow you guys, you didn't even know each other yet, but you started causing friction in different ways, and then you just kind of came together. So that might be why. Mitch says, can we go to Chiyotairu's meat restaurant? Absolutely. We gotta get an in, though. We gotta know somebody to get in that restaurant, but I would most certainly want to go there first. Don't worry, guys. I took beginning Japanese in college. I'm basically fluent. Okay, that's all we got. I mean, you're going to have to be the one to talk to Hiro Morita because, we're all going to be just standing there like, konnichiwa? Monster says, that would be awkward. Chiyotairu was my most hated guy after Asanoyama was injured. How could that be true? How could that be true? And Jason says, and drink some Tochinoshi wine. That we could probably have an easier time finding. And, Tochinoshin, a foreigner like us. So, he might appreciate us more. So definitely put that on the list. Mitch says, no monster. It's probably the other way around. I need to respect my higher ranked GTB senior. That's a good point. Actually, I change it all. Because Monster is an expert in Guess the Banzuke, he does get to decide who his sidekick is. Hey, Jax. Glad you were here. Enjoyed the show. Thanks, Maria. Absolutely. Habab Gab says, Hiro-san, daisuki, daisuki desu. Watashi no chinchin wa chisai desu. Let's see. Hiro, we like you. Do you want to... I have no idea what the rest of that is. Spanky, oh no, if we hire him, Hiro better be speaking English. Oh, of course he'd be speaking English. He would be the best tour guide ever. You have to admit that. Hiro speaks English. He went to university in America. Yeah, he speaks very good English, actually. But when you're in America and Japan, maybe he's like, sorry, just speak Japanese to us. Oh, meant after he lost Ozeki. LOL. I am not following that. Oh. After Asanoyama lost Ozeki. Okay. I don't take employees that have to pay taxes on that. Can't you make an exception for Mitch? I mean, come on. You guys have been buddies for a while now. Who else would we hire on this trip? We have Hiro. We have Jason. I don't know anybody else. I mean, I don't think Chris would come anywhere near us. He would not be a fan, I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. Chris seems decent. Maybe he would take us to all the crazy places. My Japanese is rusty, but a couple of weeks I'd get most of it back. You have to start talking to somebody who speaks Japanese. Then you'll get it back. Yes, Murray. That's who we need. Murray and John. I don't know if John's in Japan much anymore, but he was on the preview show. So he's definitely coming back and forth again. That's what I want to do. I want to hang out with Murray, John, and Hiro, and just like get all the places we're supposed to go. Find Kaisei, go on a tour with Kaisei. I mean, get some Tochinoshin wine, eat at Chiyotairu's restaurant. I thought I read that right, Bob. Oh my. Yeah, I don't think I want to know what it says. I do not know Japanese. Tobizaro is my goat right now. Can't do it. You know what? Good. Put Mitch in his place. Tobizaro is awesome. Mitch, you know what I said. Not good. Not good. Don't want to know. See? Now you're the one who's going to get yourself arrested. A hug from Kaisei would make my day. That would be amazing. Like, maybe if we go, we just need to meet all of the guys who are not Japanese, and maybe they'll be friends with us. I talk to... It looks like maybe there's a typo. I talk to theirs in my head all the time. English, Japanese, Spanish, German, French, and sometimes all at once. You know that many languages? Do you actually know that many languages? I know, like, I can read Spanish. I cannot speak Spanish, but I can read and understand most Spanish manuals, Spanish menus, that sort of thing. I did study Japanese, but without having Japanese people to speak to, it fell right out of my head. There's only some things that I remember very well. Very dirty. Hiro might just walk off the bus. Yes. Just wonderful. I'm so glad that you guys have gotten into trouble before we even got the bus. Before we even asked Hiro. If he were to listen in on this stream or read these comments, we're already sunk. Do you think we could pretend for just a little while that we are upstanding citizens, sumo fans that are pure and wonderful? Or do you think that's too much? We probably wouldn't even make it on the plane. We'd get kicked off the plane. So much for this plan. I'll just say that. Now trying Chinese and it's breaking my brain. I was watching those, those guys who say they can speak in a million different languages on YouTube, and they go and they like speak in a person's language, and I thought, man, I could never do that. Even if I knew a language, I don't think I could talk to somebody in it. I would just freeze up. Mitch says, best I can do is 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't think it sounds pretty promising. Don't worry, Hero wouldn't read our comments unless we give him at least $1,000. Good. That's kind of the nice thing about this channel being small is no pressure, no standards, just sort of hang out and have fun. If we were a much bigger channel, we probably couldn't have as much fun. So let's keep it small. No new subscribers. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Bring them all on. I mean, we'll see tomorrow night if I actually get up, get my whole technology situation good, do the commentary, and do it in a way where people aren't like, who the heck is that? We might get a ton of new subscribers. I mean, that channel has 1,000 subscribers. So we are definitely going to get exposure to a whole different group of sumo fans that we don't have right now. So maybe there'll be more people to join us. But that makes we're going to need 2 buses at that point, 3 buses. We have to take up all the lanes of highway if we get much bigger. Oh, no, I didn't even. I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot. I'd like to announce that I've put the ISP curse in Takayasu for tonight. I got to take a look at ISP. I'm so bummed and so depressed about how bad that I'm doing. I have never done this bad before that I just stopped playing. And that's not like me. But it's like I can't even look at it because I'm just so disgusted. If these dreams became more popular, you would definitely lose the ability to read every comment like this. True. I have seen, bigger channels, obviously not Sumo, because there's not many Sumo live streams, actually. I have seen bigger channels where you have, like, hundreds of people commenting, and the person can only see, like, 1 every 10, and they miss a ton of comments. That would stink. Spanky says, just please, let's skip the kabuki. It's so painful to listen to. I'd want to do outdoor stuff. I want to climb some mountains, go up to 3,000 steps, find tea houses, find traditional things. I'm not really, I like the flashy stuff, but I'd actually want to go to the countryside, which I can't do until I learn a little bit more Japanese because I'd be lost. I wouldn't be able to talk to anybody. Maybe we'll just hire somebody just to help us with that part. I will be tuning into your play-by-play debut. When will you be commenting again? So it's, excuse me, sorry about the cough. It's day 13, so that's tomorrow night. Like it's Friday morning at 3 a.m. So for me, it's like I go to bed Thursday night and then I have to get up a couple hours later and do it. So it's Friday, but Friday in the middle of the night. Don't worry, you're still beating me 1 in 10. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I can't believe someone's having a worse ISP than me. I really can't. Easy macro. Keisho got this tourney 42. Look, he's just got to do it tomorrow. Or, I don't know if you guys know. I think you know. But John has to send me a message every single morning saying whether or not Take Keisho had an injury or I can't watch. So I'm already racked with stress and anxiety. And now he's got to do this to me. So I have to worry about injury and I have to worry about him losing Ozeki. It's not good. It's not good for my health. Honestly, I'd want to do the Basho in Kyoto and then go tour the castles and stuff. If I went during a tournament, I would go all day. I would go from the minute the very first match to the very last match. I would not leave. I would watch every single match. Wouldn't even know who people were, but I would have to see the entire day. I could not show up when the main matches start. That would be out of the question. Walk up Mount Fuji, Kyoto on a misty, cloudy day, the giant Buddha at Kamakura. I'd probably need the comically large wheelchair to do any kind of climbing. There's, in fact, 4 people doing worse than you. Yay, tiebreakers. That's insane. I am doing so horrible. I expected to claim that bottom spot. Yeah, there's a lot of walking to do in Japan. Actually, you know what else? There's all kinds of islands, like little tiny islands that I'd want to see. I could not. I would need months in Japan to see all the things I want to see. Yes, with that statement, what a great statement, Habob Gob. Good night, all. Sumo time. I'm well past what I said. I said 10 minutes. It's been 20 minutes. But I promised that we would talk about our Japan trip. So we did it. We're at time. Tomorrow night, I'm going to try to start early. Like probably close to 8 o'clock. So that I can be done in time to like get some kind of sleep before trying to get up in the middle of the night and do this. They do keep their videos up, so if you don't get to see it live, you can just go to their channel and you can watch it and see me make a fool out of myself. I do not know how I'm going to watch these matches and like not scream into the microphone. It's not a problem to get excited for the matches. The problem is you don't want to be blowing somebody's eardrums out. And I just react. So I really, really, really hope that it is not a disaster appearance. So give me good wishes, guys. At least I'm beating the most Kyujo guy. But you're barely beating him. That's the worst part. The bad influence known as me strikes again. You are the bad influence of 42 Opinions. I can officially give you that title. It's late, but we all had fun. Good night. Good night, George. Thank you. Good night, Spanky. And thank you for coming. The chats are only as entertaining as the people who show up. If I'm just sitting here talking to myself, then it's not that entertaining. Where are you going to call the matches, 42 where? It's called Salt City Sumo. So if you search that, you'll find them. I don't know much about how it's going to go. I'm just going to show up and see what happens. So I can't give you more details than that, but it's just the top division. So 3 to 5 in the morning if you're East Coast, and then you can do the math from there if you're going to be like 2 to 4, 1 to 3 if you're talking Mountain and Pacific. I might just jump on the bat flip on a Tobizaru loss. Oh, Mitch. I really do hope Tobizaru meets you and you're actually nice to him. Well, Gonayama has a good chance, I think. He's tough. Gonayama's tough. I'm looking forward to his future. All right, guys. Great chatting with you. I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, early. Check the community tab. Jax, you're a sub of Salt City? Okay. Well, make sure you make a comment or something else. It's day 13, Friday in the middle of the night. Hope to be there. Yes, thank you. I'm East Coast. Tune in then. Perfect. We all know you'll crush it. Oh, thank you. Always fighting Shonan and Umi. I'm done. Well, you know what? He's still going to win. So there. Good night, everybody. I'll talk to you tomorrow somewhere around 8 o'clock.